Yes, they feed off of your blood, child.
My name is Jerry Cawthon. I'm an engineer. I was the manager of the Muni's Transit Improvement Program at the time that we finished the design of the Muni Metro subway, Market Street subway, and put it online. I was later 14 years with Parsons Brinckerhoff as a transportation vice president and senior engineering manager. And today I'm representing the coalition against Proposition A, which is comprised of the Coalition of San Francisco Neighborhoods. That's 46 neighborhood groups in it. San Francisco Tomorrow, St. Muni, the Chinese Democratic Club, and some others. But those are the main backers of the coalition right now. We are all volunteers, where our fundraising abilities are not very good. So we're not going to be able to compete at all with what probably everybody's going to be seeing shortly coming from the other side. But I do have something here that I'd like to pass around. And if anybody, you can find, this is the ordinance. This is the actual legal language that guides what's going to happen. And as the gentleman at the end of the table asked, you will see in here why you've heard what you heard. No matter if you've heard, what is a commitment to doing what they say they're going to do. This shows it. This was approved by the Board of Supervisors on June 18th. And I underlined section 3, which is the program. That's what they say they're going to do. So that you can keep, and if you can't find it at the Department of Elections, I can leave some cards if anybody wants. I can give you the URL. It's a great big long one. I didn't bring it, but I'll leave some cards just in case. Because it's, to me, that is probably the one document above all else that tells you the truth. Now, what that really basically says is that they may allocate money to this good thing, and they may allocate money to that good thing. There's a sentence that basically says they may or may not even do anything on the list. They don't guarantee to do anything on the list. It's all made. Now, I took the trouble of looking up 4 other bond issues, 3 state and 1 San Francisco. Proposition 116 was passed in 1990. That said shall. This was a transportation bond issue, $2 million. Shall do this, shall do that, shall do that. They had this project specifically identified, and the word shall was there. Proposition 1B was a $20 billion transportation bond issue, same thing. You all know about Proposition 1A, which is a high-speed rail bond issue. It's getting into trouble because the people who are following, the writers, are not following what they said they do, but at least they are very specific. And then finally, Proposition B in San Francisco was passed in 2011. That was a street maintenance bond, same thing, shall be, shall be, shall be. So that means that one of our people says it's really a faith-based bond issue. And the question is the agency that's going to implement it? It doesn't say in there who's going to implement it either, by the way, or where the oversight's going to come from. But is there enough trust in the agency that's going to implement it to give them $500 million, no strings attached, no guidelines, nothing, illegally. Lots of stuff, a lot of nice reports and colored brochures and all that, but nothing really there. Now, so the answer there is that, and I want to talk about a little bit more of the B, but I will do a little more detail. The SF MTA has not had a very good record, either for service or for meeting its budgets. And I'll come back to that under B, because I think I'll run, how much time do I get? I'm sorry.
Well, you're almost there.
Okay,
But if you want to actually, if you think that A and B are intertwined and you want to go into B, that's fine. We can do that right now.
Well, I'll quickly do it.
Hold on just a second. So you're here for D, and I know that we're running a little late, and behind you is...
Is that
Jane.
developed? Supervisor Jane Kim,
That's
District 6.
and you're
Davida.
Davila. Okay. So we're gonna have him finish. Then we're gonna go to Bridget, and then we'll go to Supervisor Jane Kim. I know that I'm sorry that we're a little bit behind, and then we'll go to Prop
D.
E D.
D.
D. Is that okay with everyone? Okay, and then we'll get to you, Todd.
I'm just hanging out.
You're just hanging out.
Can I ask how long each of the slots are?
They're 5 minutes,
Okay,
but
that's
they've
fine.
sometimes a couple of them have bled a little bit more than that. I'm trying to be a little bit more. Okay, I'll just have to.
We'll see.
Yeah,
That's
right.
a little bit
I
more of a
have
hard
time.
ass.
Yeah,
Okay.
but if it's 5 minutes, it's totally fine.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
I'm
so
sorry.
I will just say that there are 3 specific areas of the MTA operation I want to mention. The first is that back in 1999, they passed an act that gave actually formed the MTA and gave it a lot of authority, but it also set up a schedule adherence requirement of 85%. Buses on time, 85% of the time. It's now around 60.2%. So it's never come anywhere close to meeting that. That's number one. And then in the years since the recession, even after the recovery, the community has been very much cut. Service has been cut. That's never been restored. So bus lines have been eliminated, 7 have been eliminated, 22 have been shortened, neighborhood services have been cut, and in this bond issue, there's even a risk that it could be further cut. We're not sure. So those are the things that make us feel very strongly that you cannot trust this agency. Oh, one other thing, I'm sorry. Budget control. Recently, you probably read about a whistleblower who came out and there were some articles in the newspaper about their cost control system. They use Excel. Now, anybody who knows Excel knows that it's very appropriate for a one-person barbershop. You can keep track of your costs very nicely, but for a multi-billion-dollar project to use Excel, it opens up a whole world ripe for chicanery and fraud. And in fact, there's been some charges made that some of this is being misused. And then there's the Federal Oversight Committee. Federal, now this is not an oversight committee in-house, this is federal. They've been saying for at least a year that they're not getting enough information from the Central Subway project to basically know where that project stands. It's already gone from 647 million to almost 1.6 billion, and we think it's probably still rising, but no one knows because the cost control systems simply aren't able to take care of it. Now, that's what I wanted to say about Muni. Now, the only thing we have to guide us as to what they might do is the mayor's task force report, which was published in December of 2013. And in there, Muni gets half of, this is a bigger amount, by the way, the bond issue is only part of what this task force came up with. They had a $3 billion package, this is only a $500 million package. So, but if you assume that that same philosophy would be carried forward, they've got $288 million in there for just beautifying Market
Well,
Street.
can I clarify something? So
Sure.
are we still talking about Prop A? Or
No, B.
Yes.
B, okay. You're
Talking
still
about
talking
A.
about, you're talking about B? Okay.
Talking
Because it's
about
already,
me.
Oh, no.
Oh, now you're talking about
I
A.
thought
now
you
he's talking about
were-
it. So,
We're running out of
yeah, we're about 8 minutes.
All right,
Yeah, so if you, a quick question, if anybody
Yeah,
has.
we're gonna put.
Or,
I think we should.
okay, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think we can.
Okay.
Thanks, Jerry.
I did an earmark for Muni, which is, I think, around $30 million a year. Now, I kind of think that Muni could make good use of that, although we have the same problem I talked about, and that is, what would they use it for? There's been a lot of discussion about safety. If I had an extra $30 million in general funds, what I would do, and maybe this is committee of one, but I would use that money to enforce the safety laws for both motorists and bicyclists. I think that would do more to save lives than widening sidewalks would. So it's a question of how you use that 30 million. There's lots of different departments and individuals and interest groups that need that money, including Muni. It definitely could use, if it's well spent, it would be very beneficial. But we, after sort of agonizing over it, we decided we had to oppose it because we weren't sure how it would be used, because the MTA's record of handling this money isn't all that great, and because of its impact on other departments. So any questions?